Hey guys, welcome to another episode of No Tea, Just Coffee. I am Jordan.
My name is Tam.
And today we're going to be talking about relationship marathon. That's going to be the meat and potatoes. And then for the shoot the shit, we're going to be talking about matching energies. We always talk about people matching energies. You know, what you give is what you're going to get. So let's get into it.
Period. Okay.
Cool. So relationship marathon. We all know the peaks and valleys, the marathon of a relationship. It's communication, it's getting on the same page, it's learning each other, it's self-work. It can literally feel like you're on this marathon to get to the finish line, which essentially there is no finish line because it's an everyday
ongoing process.
Ongoing process. So I think just like Tam and I were talking about a marathon, it's, you know, with a marathon, you're doing intense training all the time leading up to the marathon of the relationship. And that's really what it is. It's like we talked about love languages, you know, how should you love your partner? What is their communication style?
Maybe not what's a relay race or a triathlon or
triathlon. Look,
is that what
marathon, triathlon?
Well, because I'm thinking about all the things that goes into into a relationship, right? Yeah. She just said the whole love language, you know?
Yeah.
Your self-work, like what are you doing? Like, are you coming into a relationship kind of already scarred a little bit? And if so, are you doing the work on yourself to make sure you're not putting all that baggage on the other person?
You can come with about 5 suitcases.
My gosh. But what I will say, sometimes you think that you might be over something.
Oh, no, that's the truth.
Like, you'd be like, yeah, I'm not mad about that. Or like, yeah, that wasn't that relationship. And then let the person do something that trigger you like,
ain't over it.
Ooh, maybe I'm not.
Listen, Tyrone really tore you up. Now Kenneth is
right. And he like, whoa.
We only been dating for 3 weeks. Couldn't have done that much damage. And that really is it. Mm-hmm. You are, and I think sometimes people may, and I am guilty of this too. Kind of, me and Alfred, we didn't know each other, maybe a year and a half. Hey, here's a child. Here we go. Like, you kind of have to train for this relationship. And sometimes when you don't, we didn't have much training before we got into this very serious situation. And you learn as you go and make a lot of mistakes in between.
But can I ask you, so year and a half, that's a pretty long time, right, to be with someone. So a year and a half before your son came along, or before you got pregnant? Or before?
Yes, before I got pregnant.
Yeah. So even within that year and a half, I mean, that's a pretty long time to be with someone. So even with that, like...
Yeah. But if you think about it, how we talked about it last episode, like I had been this way for 15 plus years. Alfred had been this way for 15 plus years. So a year is kind of like that honeymoon stage where you're right. You date and you really love everything. You just in the mood. You know what I mean? You loving this person, and then life happens, and then you're like, oh crap! Now I gotta be mom, dad. We just started. You know, it's like all these things thrown in, and you know, my advice would be, I even tell my niece, like, date, date, or if you find somebody that you really like, just date them until you really get to know them, because it takes a while to get through some of those layers of all the things that make themselves who they are. And you might find out year 2, I don't like that person anymore, or there's something that triggers and you're like, oh, you need to go to anger management, or oh, you need to like kind of work through some things before we take this thing seriously. So
take these things seriously in what way? What do you mean by that?
In like a committed relationship, because I think sometimes people are in committed relationships and don't really know what that means, or they take on that task but not really assume the task, like, oh, that's my girlfriend or that's my boyfriend. But that's a deeper connection and a responsibility that I think sometimes we don't really take it as seriously as we should, or, you know, put in the work to make it successful.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I guess I'm thinking of like, if and it could be because I'm now older, right? But if I'm going to get in a relationship, or if I'm dating someone, or we agree that we're boyfriend and girlfriend, that's when the commitment starts. You get what I'm saying? Like that's where it starts. Like the months before, you know, that is getting to know, do I like you? do I even like you enough to really be with you? Do I, those preliminary actions or whatever. But yeah, once you tell me, or once we tell each other, okay, right. that we're boyfriend girlfriend, for me, that's when the commitment starts, regardless of what that time frame is. Because right. I can think back to a relationship where we were only dating for like 2 months,
and then made it official.
And this is so cute. I'm sorry, this is so off topic, but I just feel like nowadays guys just don't do this. Like, he actually asked me, "Would you be my girlfriend?" I said, "Oh my god, yes!" Like the note. What?
Wait a minute. Okay, now you. Okay, now we're about to reminisce. I was dating a guy. He turned out to be, but in the beginning, when we made it official, I was dropping him off somewhere downtown, and he had left a piece of paper in his seat. And I was like, "Oh, you left this piece of paper." I thought it fell out of his pocket. And he was like, "No, go ahead and read it." And it was like the old school, "Will you be my girlfriend? Yes or no?" That is melted my heart. He turned out to be an awful human being. But here's the thing. That's my point. I really, and this was younger, so Tam's point is probably right. Like, now we're 30 plus. I ain't playing no games. Right. Like, you need to not play no games. But sometimes people say, "Oh yeah, that's my girl," or that's my boyfriend. But mentally, the switch hasn't turned on to say, "Listen, now you're accountable. Every action that you make," and marriage ain't got nothing to do with it. If you're in a committed relationship with somebody, accountability has to be there. Like, you've said to this person, we're in a committed relationship. So now your actions and everything, you need to be accountable for that. So I think some people just want to be in a relationship, but don't want to assume that responsibility, especially if you're older. It's like,
I think that's all age groups.
Yeah.
I mean, some people, like, even, I was going to say, even like with some marriages, I'm just going to call it
absolutely true.
I feel like, first off, let me say, I think we're probably veering off topic, but this is just on my heart. We're going to get back to it. But I just feel like with marriages now, like, it's not as valued as it used to. And it's like, people are doing it just to do it, or people are doing it because, oh, but I love them. Okay.
I love this coffee cup.
Hello?
Like, I love these earrings.
Yeah, but like, what, like, have you guys gone through the ups and downs, and how did you guys get through that?
Right.
Is that
have you had those difficult conversations?
Have you had those? Yes. Like, is this someone that you can go to at any given time?
That's right.
They know everything about you in and out. Like, there's
that vulnerability.
Yes. But no, I don't think that's the case for a lot of people who get married now. They're so in love, or it's a thing of like, that's what they're supposed to do.
Yes.
Says who?
Because let me tell you something. I've met a lot of people that I don't want to marry. I don't care how long we've been together.
Says who? Yeah.
I don't have to marry you if that's not what I want to do. And here's the thing too. I think some people, because people have been together for so long, they think that marriage is the thing
next step.
Yeah. Yep. But not like me and Alfred, we chose to. But we very well could have been riding off into the sunset without getting married. And that's our choice. And I think society makes it to believe that you don't have a choice. Yes, you do have a choice. Right. Like, these traditional ways that we, put ourselves into, it gets in the way of, like, if you're so focused on just the marriage, you have forgotten about the person.
You forgot about the whole reason why you got to you know what I'm saying? Like,
who is this guy that you're about to marry? Like, do you know the ins and the outs?
Right.
Like, and also, I don't know, I haven't really heard about too many, like, quick, what they call microwave marriages, where, like,
microwave? I ain't heard that before.
And remember, like, the Kim Kardashian,
you put it in the Thursday. Yeah.
It was like married for 6 months and gone, married for 2 months and gone, year and a half, and they divorced. I'm like, the stress of it all, of just going through planning a wedding alone.
Now, don't get me wrong, there are some people, like, I know someone, actually. I do know someone who she found her person. It was a short period. Yeah. I think to the average person. Now, and this is what I'm saying. Like, I can't I can't put a time on anybody's relationship and when you should and should not.
No.
But I do have a friend, she met someone, it was a short period of time, and probably like to the average person, they're like, girl, what?
Yeah.
But I do think that there can be like that immediate connection with people. But I also think that there's probably going to be things that they will learn about themselves in the marriage, whereas instead of prior to,
right.
you know, so.
And that's really how, so I was watching Tabitha Brown, love her to death. Her and her husband have Fridays with Tab and Chance, and that's another, you know, thing that I watch on YouTube. And her husband were talking about encouraging her daughter and son to wait it out before you get married. Like, learn yourself, grow, you know, take care of your self-care before you get into a relationship, because what they did and what a lot of us do, me too, is you grow up in the relationship. You learn yourself in the relationship. So you don't really take that time before jumping in. Now y'all both trying to figure yourselves out, but then you kind of rub each other the wrong way in the process because you just growing. It's growing pains.
Yep.
You know, and that's exactly what me and Alfred did. It was like, okay, we get in this relationship. We don't even know what we're doing. We're trying to be this family, raise this child, but also get to know each other. Oh, but by the way, we're young. And I'm trying to figure my career. So,
and where you guys were then, you guys are at completely different places. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, we're light years. And that is because we have ran that marathon. Like, and it really is. It's like, and we're still running that marathon because, like Tam, like, goes with peaks and valleys. You're going to have trials and tribulations throughout your relationship. But I tell you that training right before that marathon is key and essential. And sometimes you do it before the relationship or during, but it is essentially training so that you can spend the rest of your time working on your relationship.
Yeah, I think it's I think we said this earlier. Yeah. It is continuous relationship. I think there's like that pre-work that needs to be done, whether it's on yourself, getting to know the other person, learning that person.
Yeah.
And then once you are in this committed relationship, married or not married, it is continuous work.
And you see on the TV, like when you see people running marathons, homeboy be on the ground crawling to the finish. Crawl to the finish line. And it's like that. You like, I cannot take one more thing. And then when you get to the finish line, you're like, ooh, okay. I'm glad I stuck the course. But it can feel like you on the ground crawling, trying to get your shit together as a couple and as yourself. It can feel like I ain't never gonna get through this.
You know what? Kind of relating to that, you know, and I think this is in all relationships, that you're gonna get to a point where you are tired.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. And, you know, I've heard the saying of when you're with someone, sometimes you fall in and out of love.
Oh, yeah.
You know, during that process. And that's okay, as long as you find your way back to each other.
That's right.
So, yeah, it's going to, you know, the whole thing of this episode, you know, it's a marathon. Yeah, it's going to feel like a marathon. Sometimes you may get to a point where you're like, I'm tired, boss. I don't feel like putting in that work, right? But I feel, because I've had that happen to me, right? I feel like when an individual when an individual reaches that point, I guess the amount of love and respect that you have for that individual, there needs to be some type of conversation.
Yeah, I
like
agree.
Something to be had, instead of like literally everything you're doing like completely change. Like it literally feels like you just said, all right, thanks.
Because you can't check out.
You can. And I know this. Like,
that's true.
Constant work. Every day. It is constant work, you know? But if you reach that point where you're just like tired because you feel like you're constantly doing it, you know, doing whatever it is, you know, to keep that relationship good and keep it moving forward. Like there has to be conversation, whether it's hell, I don't know if a therapist, I don't know, but there just needs to be whatever that outlet is. There needs to be some type of conversation instead of not. And then your actions are completely changing. And then the other person's like, what the hell's going on?
Here's the thing. Been there, just like Tam said, like you do get burnt out sometimes. And it is, for me, it was a case of being willing to be vulnerable and to speak on what it is. Because sometimes you have a fear of like, if I speak on what it is this the end of us, or is it, you know what I mean?
Baby, let me tell you.
So,
because some people don't know how to.
No.
Some people don't know how to receive that type of information. Like, I think that I can, like, I think I can receive information like that and it not like affect me.
Yeah.
But there's some that just, they don't know how to take, what is it, criticism? Would it be criticism or whatever?
And sometimes it's not even criticism. I think it is because it's like last episode or whatever, when we talking about communication, avoidant, you know, da-da-da-da-da. I think people just have not learned, have not gotten comfortable with having these vulnerable conversations. Those
hard conversations.
And think with the old saying, they shit don't stink. You know, because some people do.
Nobody's perfect.
But some people do walk around here and have never been told differently than what they've been doing.
Absolutely.
And it's like when you meet your match, like I talk about with Alfred, they are going to call you on your shit and they're going to have these difficult conversations. And that really is because they do care about your well-being.
And they really want to be with you. And as long as you're willing to work together to figure it out.
Because why would you want to have, because what happens, and this is, you know, of course, from a female's perspective or from my perspective, is you create resentment. Years and years and years and years of resentment can be very hard to push through. So don't let it get so solid as concrete that you don't allow your mate to have that vulnerable conversation with you, because internally you've been thinking about it, and you have not said one thing or have not done anything to help resolve it. And now you are probably checked out, and now you are probably considering leaving, but at least give your mate the benefit of the doubt to have that conversation before you make that final decision.
Now, this is actually something recent, like I can relate to. Because, and which is very surprising for me, because I have no problem like talking about any issues or concerns that I have with anybody, whether it's my boyfriend or my friends. It doesn't, hell, my boss. Like I just like I've never had that issue, but for whatever reason, this particular time I did. Okay, and I just didn't say anything, like for the longest time.
Yeah,
and it's so unlike me, right?
Well, what is it? Or what was it? I mean, what's the situation?
Oh, just just about our communication, like just needing to get better. Oh, essentially,
with you and
we have. Yes. This is a recent thing. I was like,
Tam, help me out with.
No, I said that.
Oh, with your boo. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I missed that part.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Sorry.
But yeah, like our communication was phone off or whatever. But like I didn't say anything. Like I just didn't, and so like I started to. It's not funny. It's not funny. I mean, I've said something. Okay, I've said something since. Okay, so that's why I can like sit here and laugh.
Like it's not funny.
If this were like, I was like, he wouldn't. But yeah, I can laugh about it now.
So what made you not say?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I don't know. I just it's not like me. But anyways, long story short, I didn't say anything for so long. I built up this resentment. I'm mad at him. He don't even know why.
No, that's
you know what I mean? Because I haven't opened my mouth to tell him why I'm not happy. You know, and like that resentment started to build, and like every little thing, like if he didn't send me an emoji, I'm over exaggerating. But you know, like
that's how it is though.
It sent me over the edge. And it's like, girl.
They start talking like, if you don't I don't know. And they like, hey, how's it going? Don't talk to me.
Like,
the resentment.
Say something. So let me I finally did say something.
So how I was saying, like, sometimes you can't get in a space where it's like, I don't want to know what their response will be.
Was there a little bit of that?
A little bit of fear with addressing it, or like?
No, because me and my boyfriend, we have every now and again we have, I call them truth moments, where it's like, hey, can we just have a moment, like, you know, so like we've actually never had issues with that at all. I really couldn't tell you why I didn't.
Well, and you know what? That brings a good point of.
It could be. Sorry. No, I mean, it actually could have been more so. I was wanting him to say something.
Oh, that makes sense too.
That's because right. I do feel, I can't remember if this was just you and I talking, or if we said this in an episode, but the woman typically is always the one.
Yeah, you're right. We have said that in this or previous
episodes, right? We are normally the one,
always,
to call out issues or whatever, but it's like, I know you know, but you just not gonna say nothing.
And I wonder if, because of course for women, I wonder if it is even the issue for guys as much as it is for us. Like,
probably not. It's like probably like, that's what you tripping over, and we're like, yes.
You don't want to talk,
right? You don't want to talk to me.
You don't want to go date night. Like, what is important to you?
Food, right?
Like, that's all. All you want to do is eat, go to work, and have sex.
But what I will say, right? Okay,
because that's the three things.
What I will say though, I was very honest with like, are clear and like what it is that I need.
Yeah,
we live in two different cities.
Yeah,
so our communication has to be on point.
Absolutely,
like it has to be.
Yeah,
if we don't have that, what we doing?
That's right.
Like what is this? Yeah,
it's key.
Yeah.
Well, and to bring up a point that you just said, it's like you may have not had this issue before, but you have it now, and that just shows the transformation or progression or whatever the word I'm looking for of not only us as individuals, but also us as a couple.
Yeah.
Because you do get a little more settled. Because when you don't have some of those major issues, sometimes you can't get settled because y'all ain't really got nothing to rah-rah about, or there's really no big issues. So you do get settled in.
Yep.
What I call like the 9 to 5 of it all. You just going through the motions. And then before you know, you're like, whoa, crap. We ain't communicated, or we ain't had no good conversation, or we haven't had a date night, or we haven't had our whatever the case may be. And that's just because you get comfortable.
Yeah.
And it's time to kind of hit the reset button and all right, now let's talk about this. And then you kind of go on. But that shows the training, as we talk about the marathon, the training that you and your boyfriend have done for so many years to get to that marathon piece where it's like, we've been here before. We trained for it. I'm calling him. We talking about it. And now we're just getting through it and moving on to the next thing.
Keep it
moving.
Yeah.
But I think that training piece is very hard. It's very uncomfortable.
It is.
Because you do have to essentially kind of start with yourself. Kind of like inner self. Like, okay, this is something that you want to do. What is it going to take to make this relationship successful? Like, what adjustments do I need to make? What new things do I need to, or what has he brought to the table that I need to start to implement? Such as for me, healthy communication. And, but also you have to decide if it's worth it too.
Oh, like, you know what absolutely. I mean? Yeah.
You know, not everybody.
Is it worth putting all this time?
Right.
And I, at one point in time, I had to make a hard decision, and I was like, this is not my current boyfriend, but at one point in time, I had to make a very hard decision and say, like, I don't know if this is really worth the time.
Yep.
You know?
It is a hard decision because, and that's okay. Because I think, like you were saying, like some people just want to do it just because it's the next thing to do.
Yep.
But it's like, but do you really want to be with that person? Like, yes, you do need to work on yourself no matter what, who you with, do your self-work. But at the same time, don't put yourself through all of these training things to get to, if that person is not your person. It don't have to be your person. There's so many people out here, fish in the sea, more fish in the sea. Like, go find your fish. Like, you don't have to be this guy. And it has to be a two-way street.
It does. And actually, to piggyback off of that, I was telling you I had saw something and I was like, dang, I just feel like this person is saying exactly what I think and how I feel about when you start a relationship. Like when you first get into a relationship, how you are in it, right? That's how I am. Like if I'm in this thing, I'm in it.
Yeah.
And you give, maybe not your all, but you're putting forth so much effort, but you're also putting forth I guess actions of like how you really want to be loved, but you're putting it on that person.
Yeah.
Right? So you're giving, mm-hmm. because ultimately this is I'm doing X, Y, and Z. But the X, Y, and Z is really like the ways that I really want to be loved, but you feel like you're giving all this energy, but yet it's not being reciprocated.
Getting nothing back.
And get nothing back.
Empty.
And you run out of steam.
You do. And
I think, out of steam.
Like you always say, that communication piece is key because, and how we talk about love language, you got to have that communication, because just because you will say quality time, spend all this quality time and doing all these acts of service for your mate, well, that's not how they want to be loved. So they don't recognize it.
Yeah.
And again, been there, because when you are new in a relationship, you think that I gotta do all these things, and you do become empty.
And I don't even think, like, speaking up for myself,
mm-hmm.
I don't even think it's like intentional. It's just a natural thing of like mm-hmm. displaying those actions and not intentionally, doing it. You know what I mean?
And here's the thing too. Yes, I agree with that, because I don't even know why this thought came about, but I feel like how we were talking about one size fits all, and it doesn't. I think because, okay, I'm in this new relationship and I'm supposed to do X, Y, Z, whether that's heavy on quality time, heavy on gifts, heavy on that ain't even the girl that should be getting all these things, or she's not asking or requiring these things.
Right.
Sis 10 months ago did require it.
Yep.
That was filling her cup up.
Right.
You need to hit reset.
Yep.
Guys and girls, both men and women, and figure out what that person requires. Because you can go empty.
Mm-hmm.
Now they ain't giving it back because it's you off kilter. You're not speaking in each other's language.
You off what?
Kilter. That means like it's imbalanced.
No, I've just never heard off kilt, like a
mm-hmm.
kilter. Oh, mm-hmm. Kilter is one word.
Off kilter. Kilter.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you learned something new every day. Sorry, I was like, I thought you were saying like you didn't off and kilt her. I'm like,
now you didn't.
Right? Like, whoa,
this went dark. Right. I love a horror film.
Sorry,
I'll take it there.
It's like, why'd you go there?
This time.
Oh, goodness.
Imbalanced, if you will. And that is true, because, when me and Alfred first started dating, and even when we first started living together, I really was like, these are the things that it requires. And I'm just going and going. Well, I got empty.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got resentful because, one, I didn't even communicate any of these things. Like, I'm feeling like X, Y, Z. So Alfred would be like, well, babe, I'm not requiring this. Like, this is something that you want to do. And then after a while, we had to have this conversation, because now I'm unhappy, and now I done ran myself dry.
Because you were giving him what you really wanted, but that ain't what he wants.
And vice versa.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's very much a gift giver. Mm-hmm. That's his like he wants to receive gifts, mm-hmm. but mine is quality time. And so we really just kept missing each other completely.
Bypassing each other, yeah.
And
but even with like a lot of those things, it has to continue. Like
mm-hmm.
like if we start off where we're doing like date night every whatever, don't stop that.
Why does it happen that way?
I don't know, but like, don't stop.
Don't bring out you got all these tricks in the bag, and then 4 years later, it's
because
like
you done got comfortable. You got comfortable.
You're the real
deficient. This whole thing is a marathon.
Like,
you got to keep it going.
That's right.
Now, maybe the amount of times or like the frequency, maybe that might slow down. Right. But to just like stop doing certain things that you did to get me.
That's right.
Basically.
Yeah.
Or or what I did. And that goes for,
absolutely
both parties.
Ways.
But it's just like, you have to keep those things going.
And I would also say, while you're on that relationship marathon, you do change, not completely change, but who I was when I was in my 20s is very different who I am in my 30s. And I'm sure it'll be very different when I get in my 40s. You have to, as a partner, recognize that as well. Like, what you did to get me in my 20s is not, I may not even require that, or I may require a little more. Just depending on our situation. So recognize that too. It's like when I was young, I may have not required as much quality time or as much, date nights or whatever. As we get older and my son gets older, I do require now us to spend more quality time because the time is allotting for it now. Mm-hmm. The time has been, freed up because our son is a little older now. So now we start to kind of have to work in our, on our one-on-one time a little more heavier than we used to. So I think that should be recognized too, is like, don't just keep pulling the same tricks out the bag. Like, try something different too. Trying to see what your mate may like. They might
switch it up a little bit.
Heck, they might want to take a dance class. Okay, 10 years ago they didn't care nothing about it. Now they want to get out there and salsa dance. You know what I mean? Like, spice it up too. Like, try something different as well too. So
yeah, I agree with that.
So yeah, I can't think of anything else about.
I said my piece on
marathoning a relationship.
On running.
But yeah, all in all, guys and gals, stick the course. If it's worth it, it is going to feel like you're training for a marathon. But I guarantee once you do that training, that marathon is going to be a lot easier because you've done the work. You're on the same page. Not to say you ain't going to come to no speed bumps or no pitfalls while you're on the marathon, but you'll know how to handle it better. You'll be more prepared to handle those situations. Like Tam, communication was getting tricky. What's going on? Had that conversation because they did the work in the beginning. Now we good now, and we coasting on to the next phase.
And also if it's with someone that that this is my life partner, my forever partner, even during those hard times, it'll be easy. I know that sounds crazy.
You said that.
But during those hard times, it will actually be easy. If it's already going to be hard enough, but if it's difficult, then you might want to, think about some things,
It shouldn't be like, because a lot of times, and I think we talked about this last episode, a lot of times it's your personal baggage that gets in the way. Once you get rid of that clutter, and like Tam was saying, you find your life partner, it is easier. It is hard, but it's easier to go through the hard times.
Yes.
Because that, it's like that bond, that connection that you have. And it's like, oh, this is my life partner. They understand me. I understand them. We both have our best interests at heart. And that's what you have to get to that. Get to the root of who this person is, and do they care about me intrinsically? Like, who I am, what I'm about, who my family, like, do they care about all the ins and outs of who you are? Not just what you look like, not just what you bring to the table, not just your assets, but shit, almost.
She getting serious, y'all.
Hold on, let me.
She getting serious. She shook the table.
Now clear all this off this table.
Oh my gosh. Ooh, Lord.
I'm glad I ain't got nothing in it.
I'm glad too. Go ahead and wrap this up because you're getting dangerous.
I'm throwing shit around. You better listen. But I feel like sometimes people just love people on the surface. And you just have to love that. And that is also, we talk about friendships too.
It's that unconditional love.
Unconditional, and just like they just love who you are all the way around.
And I think that word unconditional is key. Because I'm not going to love you because you no, that unconditional love. Woo,
stands the test of time, honey.
Hello?
It really does.
Yeah.
Okay. Before I break another glass.
Okay.
Let's move on to our shoot the shit, which is matching energies.
Period.
You want me to go?
I mean, look.
I'm just like you was ready. Okay, go ahead.
I'm just gonna say this. I have mentioned in one of our earlier episodes. That's just what I'm on. Okay.
100%.
I'm just on the matching energies. And all jokes aside, this whole matching energy thing for me, it probably it started recently, okay? And it's more so because sometimes for me, because the type of person that I am, I feel like I give a lot. I feel like I make myself accessible a lot. I feel like that is just who I am naturally. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I just feel like it may not be returned. Yeah. It doesn't have to be returned the exact way.
Right.
I just don't feel like it is. So yeah. I said to myself, like, Tam, you need to fall back a little bit. Yeah. Like, you can't always be available and make yourself accessible and go above and beyond and, whatever for whoever, right. And so I was like, I need to stop. And I'm just about to start matching everybody's energy.
No, for real. Mm-hmm. Because the basic saying is you give what you get.
Yeah.
Like, and I really would run myself ragged trying to, and I still, it's like this weekend, I told myself, like, sis, you've been doing too much for the past 2 weeks. You've been traveling all that. Sit in the house and recharge and relax. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, and I have to, like, if like, well, my best friend just texted me, like, what you doing? Naturally, Jordan will be like, well, what you want to do? Mm-hmm. Knowing I'm exhausted and I really need that recharge time.
Right.
So what I'm trying to do is practice just, okay, I'm not going to go out. If you want to come to the house, that's fine. I'm sitting in the house like I'm sticking to my guns, because you can't make yourself available for every single person, because you ain't got nothing left at the end of the week. You exhausted.
But you know what? I'm not even going to say that. It's not about me not having anything left. I'm just naturally a busy person. Mm-hmm. I will make time for you. Okay? Doesn't matter how busy I am. Yeah. I will figure it out some way, somehow. Right? So for me, it ain't about because I make myself accessible so easily I'm tired necessarily.
Yeah.
It's the fact that I make myself so accessible that I don't get that in return.
It's not reciprocated.
It's not reciprocated. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to match your energy.
And here's the thing. This topic can go on many different ways, but literally says, if you don't care, I don't.
Yep.
If you don't call, I don't call. Like, I am not going to give you more than what you give me.
What you give me?
Hey, if you ain't worried about it, guess what? I ain't worried about it either. If you don't want to, what?
The whole calling, whole calling thing. I'm not, and I hope my friends really know this about me. I'm just not the best. I'm not.
Oh, no, I'm not either.
I am really bad.
But here's what I mean. Or text or whatever. Like, if I'm checking in on you, if I'm giving amount of energy to just your well-being, checking in, how's it going, checking on the kids, you got life events.
Yes.
But you don't even ask me about my life events. You're not checking in on my family, and I'm always checking in with, hey, how's it going? I'm cutting it, because it's got to be a two-way street. I also have things going on. I also have a family. You are not the only one that has things going on, which is a pet peeve of mine so bad, because when people like, well, I got so much going on. Sorry, guys. My hands are going. Side note, sorry, y'all. I know. When I was in the 4th grade, my teacher was so mean and horrible. She made me stand up in front of the class and try to talk without my hands. Because she was like,
now, baby, if I can use my hands, it's a wrap.
Like, when I say we had a whole parent-teacher conference.
Because you talked with your hands?
Because she embarrassed me so bad in front of that classroom. Every time I would get going, she'd be like, start again.
But because you talked with your hands?
With my hands. And I would get to going like this, and she'd be like, no, stop. Stop talking about you. And everybody was, like, cracking up, and I was so embarrassed. Because she didn't think I should talk with my hands. Like,
you can be over it. Like, I'm over the top, right? But I also know when to, like,
tone it down.
But
I was like, when I'm telling a story, my hands is gonna get to going. But anyway, sorry, y'all. Where was I going with this?
I don't even know. Matching energies. But like she said, if I do this, if I make an effort to do X, Y, and Z for you, and you not doing the same thing, like,
we're gonna cut it.
Cut it.
Or I'm just going
to... Sorry, bless the dog.
My dog. Just circling around the table. But yes, I feel like that is key. And I really started to get to the point the older that I get.
Because... That's really when it hit for me. Yep.
because people do, not all people, but
No.
some people think that their life is so important. It's so more important than others. What I got going on is so much.
Okay, we're talking about pet peeves. Let me tell you something, okay?
Now you're going to get off track. Don't be talking about me.
No, because it relates to this.
Okay. Not the hands together.
Okay. First off, what I am not going to do, what I can't do, is compare my busy to your busy.
And we, Lord.
Right? We're both busy.
In our own right.
In our own right, in our own way. So a pet peeve of mine is when someone tries to tell me how much busier they are than me, and that's the reason why for X, Y, and Z. Nope. Oh, that kind of rhymed a little bit. But I cannot stand that.
And here's the thing. You're not considerate enough. That's another, I don't know, we could go on Pet Peeves Anonymous and just start. But the thing is, it's like people use, well, you know, girl, I had to do X, Y, and Z. But you still could have called. You still could have been considerate enough to say, I'm not going to be able to do this for you. Or, you know what I mean? Like, I think people just use, oh, well, you know, I had this going on and I couldn't make it. Well, you ain't let nobody know.
Just say something. You like that situation?
Just say something.
Oh, yeah, just say something.
That's just simply all you have to say is like, you know.
I respect a person who is completely honest, whether I like it or not. I respect a person who is just going to be straight, you know, upfront with whatever the reason is. But
especially if we are good friends, especially if, you know, our relationship has that dynamic, you can't be dismissive.
Yeah.
That really gets under my skin is when you have done something or said something or whatever the case may be and you're dismissive. Like that kind of energy will make me really like start to back up and like start to move with you differently because we all are important in our own right. Like just because I don't have X, Y, Z or this part, everybody should be treated with consideration and respect, no matter what, especially if that's your friend.
Otherwise, I'm just going to match your energy, child.
That's right. So, and that is in relationships too. You know, dating, early dating.
Oh, early dating? Yes. Yes. Now, if you're trying to be petty and you're in a relationship, don't do that. Don't do that if you're actually in a relationship. Like, so you gonna? Well, I'm gonna. No.
Like the Kiki thing. Stop being petty.
Yeah. Don't match.
If that's the energy you want to give, bro.
Don't match. When you're in a relationship, don't match energies. Someone has to communicate. But also, it can't always be the same person.
No, it cannot.
Yeah.
Like, and you can tell when your partner's energy is off.
Oh, absolutely.
Like,
through a text.
Absolutely.
And they could have just been like, hey. And you like, oh, hell. Like,
hold on. But also, too, like, if somebody, not my partner or whatever, but sometimes I don't even feel like going down that road with you. What you doing?
Right, you getting them like
I'll be ready to hang up because
not
what
today.
If my day then already went down the toilet? Now I got to.
Or what if my day is already going well? You ain't about to bring me down. No.
Your bad attitude. Save that. Think of something good. God woke you up this morning.
Think of something good.
Amen.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, match energies. If he ain't called in the week. Peace out. That ain't even what you need to be doing. Like, match his energy. Your friendships have shifted. Y'all used to be friends. Now she acting funny. Deuces. What's up with it? Oh, no.
I was going to say, yes. But at least give them a chance to fix it.
Oh, yeah.
At least give them a chance to try to fix it. And then after that, okay. Thank you, good night.
Yeah.
Hey, Jordan.
See, work on your patience. Because I don't have none.
Work on your patience, Lord.
I have patience, but then in certain situations, I don't.
Yeah.
It really depends on the situation. Like, I'm too old to be dealing with that. I'm not going to be dealing with no pettiness or whatever.
No, I can agree with that. I'm at the age where I'm like, I ain't got time for this. Why are we? Because either this gonna work or it's not. Why
right. And you 30 plus, you know your behaviors.
Why are we going through this?
Be better.
Anyways.
Okay, but
and scene.
Ooh. Okay, anything else about matching energies?
No, child, that's it.
All right, y'all. Thank you again for joining us. And please don't forget, no tea,
just coffee.
Bye.